Hey makers, this is Dhruvin and I welcome you all to my Code App step-by-step tutorial series. You are watching second episode of this series and today I'm going to teach you how you can connect the SharePoint as a data source with your codecs. So let's get started. If you haven't watched my previous episode, just watch it out. The link is available in the description box. So before we start up this video, at least you should have all the prerequisites available with you and you should at least know how you can get started for the first project development with the code apps. So make sure you go through the first episode over there if you haven't so far. But if you know that, don't worry, we are going to start our project from scratch for creating one real project from this class onwards. So first of all, let me just talk about what use case we are going to implement into this episode. We are going to create one patient tracker SharePoint list, and that's something we are going to connect it with the help of code apps. And that code apps, we are going to simply display the card of the different patient information. That's what the end outcome we're gonna achieve it. In next class, specifically, we are going to perform some more complex operation like CRUD operation in detail. But right now, let's just focus on to creating the connection as well as the retrieving the data from the SharePoint Online List. So let's get started. So over here, this is my SharePoint list structure over here. This is my list schema over here. These are the different columns I have taken over here, like title, date of birth, gender, email address, primary diagnosis, assigned doctor, admission date, discharge date, patient status, clinical note, etc. And what is the type for each of the column? That's something also I have mentioned over here. All right. Now over here, what we are going to build is we will build the code apps using the SharePoint list connection. And of course, we are going to build overall project with different type of component within the code apps using React and TypeScript. Okay. Now, what's the end outcome that we're gonna achieve is this type of end outcome card that we are going to showcase you. So first of all, let me show you the end outcome first so you will get a better understanding around what we're gonna implement at the end. So here you can see on my screen, this is my patient tracker list, and here I am having this different patient data available over here. You can simply take the screenshot of this SharePoint list and create the same list schema for yourself and follow along with me, and you will be able to perform that complete thing along with you. And if I'm just showing you the data within the list, this is how the data looks like over here at this point on my screen. All right. Now what I want to do here is, this is my patient tracker list data, and as an end outcome, this is what I'm going to do here is, this is the one code apps that we're gonna build, and this type of card we are going to build up and showing every data over here. This is very simple thing we are going to implement, so at least you can gain the confidence that how the connection is being created and how you can implement this complete thing for yourself. Alright, so let's get that start that journey from the scratch over here, and let me jump in to my Visual Studio Code at this point of time. But before that, if you haven't followed me on my Twitter and Instagram account so far, do follow me over there because these are the platform where I'm uploading short content on Power Platform. And if you are looking for any live training, you can always visit our website and check out the latest training information from there. Also, you can always check our premium membership over there as well. Lots of premium content is available there. 60 plus hours of content is available already over there. And the pricing is even a medium size of pizza pricing. Alright, so let's get started and talk about this project in detail. So here I am on my screen, and this is the pure Visual Studio Code is open in my machine. Now we already know that how we can set up our first project over there. So let me just start creating fresh new project for myself, and that's where we are gonna start this whole journey for today's episode. So first of all, let me go to the Visual Studio Code and open my terminal over here and click on the new terminal from the top. These are the same step that we have performed yesterday as well, so nothing new into that particular area. Now let's just focus on writing some command over here for ourselves. So I just zoom in a little bit so you can see it clearly. So first of all, let me change the path where I wanted to store this whole codeapps project. So in this codeapps YT folder, I want this So let me just copy this full path over here and let me change the path over here called CD. Let me just type over here CD single port, provide the path, hit enter, and it will change the path. After that, we know that to create the new project, what are the steps we need to do it over here for ourselves. So what I'm doing here is I am creating one fresh project called patient YouTube. That's what I wanna create. So these are the two commands I'm executing over here on my screen. We know the purpose of this command. Basically, it just clone the GitHub repository uh, with white, and I'm providing my project name as patients whitey, and then I'm going to change the path for that particular project. So let's just hit enter, and that will just create this fresh project for ourselves over here. All right, and I'm just using the command code and then dot, and basically this will open this complete patient YT project in Visual Studio Code. And as per the practice, we are already knowing that specifically over here on the screen, all the by default files are created, and by default you can see that your app.css, app.tsx, index.css, and these things are here, and packend.json covers all the dependencies, and specifically now we need to install the rest of the things over here. So already the project is being opened over here. I'm again opening the terminal over here on the same screen over here, and we need to execute some more commands over here for ourselves. So let me just zoom in a little bit again over here, and let's execute some more commands at this point. So once we open that particular project, of course, if you haven't connected with your environment, you need to connect with your environment. Otherwise, you just need to you can directly open up and start building the rest of the thing as well. But I'm just opening my stuff again, and for that I'm going to execute two new commands over here, that is PAC authentication create, and I'm just selecting my environment from it. So these two commands, I'm just start executing it. All these commands we did in the same fashion in the previous class, so please visit that, so you will get better understanding that at least how to create the project. Here I'm doing a little bit fast forward over here just to save a little bit of time. So I'm just doing that, and yes, my project is authenticated successfully and it's connected successfully. After that, we just need to install a couple of Power Platform CLI package over here. So we just need to do npm install, and what the name of the project we wanna give it to here, that's something we need to provide. So here you can see that I'm already connected to my environment prod b28 mba. This is the same environment we connected last time as well. I'm just installing my packages over here, and once it is installed, you will be able to see some more file loaded over here. Let this to be happen, and here I am. All the packages are being installed successfully, and behind the scene it created this JSON configuration file as well, power.config.json, and this is the by default JSON which is available over here at this point of time. We don't need to worry about anything at this point. Looks all good. Simply I will test this project by running my command npm run dev, and let's run this one and see whether it's running successfully or not. Just a blank project run. So I just open this up, and now let's just open our browser window, and let me just do one thing. Let me just execute it. So I'm just minimizing this a little bit and just click on this one, and it is just running a blank project. Looks all good. Perfect. Now what would be the next step from here? Next step here is, after we did this configuration, it's time to set up the connection reference. For that, let's do one thing. Let's use Control C and stop this command bar over here, and let me use a command CLS over here. Now let's do one thing. Let's go to the environment over here first. So let me just open up my Power Platform environment over here using make.powerapps.com and go to the environment from where you want to connect this whole code app. So this is my environment, prod B28 MDA. Over here, you just need to go to the connection references, and for that, go to the solution, or maybe you can directly go from here as well, go more and click on connections. From there, let's set up the new connection reference for our SharePoint project. And for that, I'm clicking on new connection, and let's search for the SharePoint and click on add. As soon as you do that, it will ask you to connect with the cloud services or on-premise gateway. We want to connect with the cloud services. Let's select that. And as soon as you select that, it will ask you for the authentication. Let's do that. Let's verify this and click on allow access, and basically it will create a SharePoint connection successfully. If it sometimes it is popping up this kind of consent window, then click on again and let's do it again. Let me just do it. Click on allow and it will create a connection. Yep, my connection has been created successfully over here. And now let's follow one base practice over here. Click on the three dots over here and rename this connection over here. Instead of this email address, I'm just providing here that this is for patient tracker YouTube connection. Okay, so I'm just providing this connection reference name as patient tracker YouTube. My connection has been established successfully. Now it's time to do this connection in our Visual Studio Code. And for that, I'm just opening my terminal again. And first of all, I'm executing the command, a PAC connection list. And when you execute PAC connection list, basically it will show you all the connection references which are available in that environment. So over here, it is required because from here we are going to copy and paste couple of things for ourselves. So over here within this terminal, you can see that this is how it completely looks like. Currently it is just showing me that okay, these are the different connection you are having, and the best way to identify here is you can see that we have renamed our connection reference name. So it is showing me that patient tracker YT, this is the connection that you need to look at. And now this connection is something we are going to connect with our code apps. For that, we need to follow one official Microsoft documentation around that how you can do the connection with your SharePoint list. So let me just open up that official documentation over here. So this is the official Microsoft documentation to connect with any kind of specifically the connection references over there. So first of all, what we gonna do over here is simply from this document, whenever you look at the SharePoint example over here, you can find this type of syntax over here. So basically it is asking for 4 different parameters over here. First of all, let's get started and provide all these parameters over here. I'm copying this whole line of code from here and I'm opening the fresh notepad for myself over here. Let's paste this command over here. Now here, A stands for API, C stands for connection ID, T stands for table name, means list name of SharePoint, and D means it is consisting the data URL, that which URL you wanna connect with. So first of all, in the API shared SharePoint Online, you don't need to do any single line of change over here into this syntax. C means connection. Let's provide that connection ID over here. And already on our terminal, we have executed certain commands. And from that, we are already getting that this is my ID. This is the status, name and API ID. So we have this particular connector, patient tracker YouTube. That's what we created. And for that, what's the ID? This is the ID. That's what we wanna copy. So let's copy this one from here and paste it in our syntax. So I'm just providing this in my syntax at this point of time. So let me copy and paste this one over here. Then next in T, we need to provide the table name, which means that our SharePoint list name over there. For that, what I'm gonna do here is simply let me open up this one and let me just open up my SharePoint site over here. So this is my SharePoint URL. So and let me just open my patient tracker list. So you can see that when I open the SharePoint list, it has a space in between, and in the URL, look at how it is rendering. You need to copy the exact same spelling over here because the space is converted as %20. You need to keep it as is over here. So let's copy this whole thing and let's provide the name over here, that your table name is this one, patient tracker. And last, you need to provide the URL of the site. So let's copy the URL of the site and let's supply it over here. So I'm just supplying this URL over here. Perfect. Now let's copy this command, and basically this is pack code add data source command. So what this command is actually doing is it will create the SharePoint connection within your code apps. So how in the Canvas app we are just connecting the data source. Similar way here in the code apps, to connect the data source, you need to follow certain set of syntax, and for SharePoint this is the syntax. A means API, C means your connection ID, T means your table, and D means your data source URL. Okay, that's what we need to supply as a parameter. Let's copy this full command. Let's go to the terminal. I'm just using CLS command over here, and let's paste this one and let's hit enter and set up the connection over here for ourselves, and then we will see what will happen. So I'm start executing this uh, command over here and let this connection to be created, and yes, here I am, and you can see that it has added the data source added successfully. Okay, now let's see what exactly it did. So when you look at this power.config.json file, you can see that in the connection references, it has created your SharePoint Online connection and connected your patient tracker list over here. Now, when you have executed this particular command, there are some changes also happen in your code structure. If you have carefully observed these overall changes, let me just refresh this one over here. And when you expand couple of things over here, few new things being introduced over here. So now let me just talk about that thing over here. So specifically in the source, it added two new folder. Number one is models and number two is service. Now what are these responsible for? Let me tell you. So when you expand models, you will be able to see one TypeScript file defining all the columns which are available in your SharePoint site. So whenever you look at this TypeScript file over here, you will see this is all the auto-generated code. We didn't write up this single line of code over here. So what exactly it does behind the scene, when data source is setting up over here, whatever things required as a part of prerequisites from this particular SharePoint site to be utilized within the code app solution, it has added all the patient tracker models schema over here. Okay, also it has added couple of things into your common data model file, and in service class basically it has imported all the common method for different type of CRUD activity. We don't need to worry about anything which is written over here underneath the model section over here. This is just for your understanding that when you set up the connection, what is happening in the background. So Microsoft imported all the common method for that connection. Along with that, they have set up some sort of model reference as well underneath model folder. So remember about this thing. Now we don't need to touch anything over here. My connection is set up successfully. My things are absolutely working fine. Now it's just a matter that we need to render this data somehow on our Power Apps. But before that, what we gonna do here is simply going to run this command again, and we'll see up to this point how it looks like. So I'm just wanted to make sure that I'll just execute a command over here called pack run dev, and once I hit run dev command, it will just give me this one, Let's open this Power Apps over here and let's see how it looks like right now. So currently it's still showing me white plus React, and this is how it is displaying to me at this point of time. So this is how it is running. No more changes at this point and the code level. Now let me simply open up my stuff over here and let's do one more level of update over here. So this is how the overall thing looks like. Now let's make certain changes in our index.html. Along with that, we will do some of the changes into our app.tsx file. So I am expanding from here my source folder over here, and in source folder we are having mainly these two files, app.tsx and app.css. That's something we are going to change. Now remember one thing, I have provided one link in the description box. From here you can download the code for this app.css and app.tsx. At least for this demo, just copy and paste this code to just save your time. So first of all, I'm opening the app.tsx. This is the by default generated code by setting up the project for the first time. We really don't want this. What we want to do is we simply need to write our TypeScript code to read the data from the SharePoint and somehow display it into the card. And of course, for that we will create some sort of HTML and React structure over here. And for that, whichever CSS we need to have, we will apply into app.css file. So that's the reason why I'm copying and pasting now the whole code which I'm going to upload on my GitHub. You can paste it. And after that, I'm going to explain you this code one by one over here. So let's do one thing over here. Simply let's copy and paste this whole set of code over here. Okay. And this is what which is responsible for rendering those cards that I have shown you at the very beginning of the video. Now what exactly I have done over here is basically this is a typical TypeScript and React based code where I'm just importing states and effect, and here I'm using the effect hook over here, and these are some logical function I built to format my date time, to change the status color depending on in the card that I'm displaying over here. And here I'm importing the tracker service which is created as a part of your assets over here automatically. So I have shown you at the very beginning that when we have started over here, in the generated folder, specifically this model and services are created automatically when we set up the connection. So those connection references I'm just importing over here with this line of code over here. Okay, these are my logical function. This is also my logical function. This is what it is generating the card for me. So the entire output that I have shown you at the beginning to display the data in the card, so it is generated by this HTML code. Okay, you can copy paste this code in your chat GPT and tell it to explain you. It will explain you line by line. Okay, I'm just going at the very high level. Any React based application always have a function app. Okay, and in this app, this is the executing for the first time. Here I'm using the hook useEffect. useEffect is what is basically React hook that I'm using over here, which is getting all the data from the tracker service. So patient tracker service is something which is the another TypeScript file which is being added when we set up the data, specifically the SharePoint connection. So when this SharePoint connection is created, it has all the native method over here. If you look at this thing out over here, there are different type of native method already added as a part of this particular file. So I'm just calling that patient tracker service dot get all, which means that it will give me all the data from the SharePoint list, and then it is setting that data into that card over here. So I have a function set patients over here, and set patient is basically just rendering the overall card for me over here, and in the return it just creating this whole patient card for me and displaying it over here. So this is what the React code is doing. Main thing that you need to understand over here is simply that we are using this React hook use effect to read all the data from the SharePoint list. This is the heart of the code. So this is where how we are reading the data from the SharePoint list. And simply the methods are used from this patient tracker service.typescript file. Okay. Now, simply one thing on top of that, that whenever we build HTML or anything, we can use AI, GitHub, Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, any AI platform to write up that thing. In the next class, I'm going to teach you that how you can connect the GitHub Copilot directly over here and build the thing for you over there. Okay, but by the time, just copy paste this thing, because this is the just second episode we are going with, and I really don't want you to do a lots of burden for yourself. At least gain the confidence that how it is working rather than how the UI and CSS is working. AI can do that code automatically for you. Okay, but let's just understand that how it is working now. So okay, you copy pasted this code from my GitHub repository app.tsx, just complete replace, and at least I explain you what this code is doing. And second thing is that you need to pick up your app.css file, because this is the place where we made all this CSS change that we gonna render. So I'm deleting this whole code which is already generated, and I'm pasting this whole new code that I'm going to supply you. So all good, looks absolutely fine now. Now my TypeScript and CSS code has been changed. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just simply opening this over here, and what I'm going to do here is I'm simply using Control C and stop debugging. Let's use CLS command, and now let's use npm run dev again, and as soon as you do that it will run this. And now let's play a local power apps over here. So I'm clicking on this, and now let's see that. Let's click on open, and this will render my code apps now with the SharePoint data source. And now it is showing me that your code is running in the local mode. Let's make sure that I'm refreshing it again. Okay, it's still not showing me the latest changes over here. Let's wait. Let's do one more thing over here. Let me make sure that I am doing the right thing. And yes, one thing I need to tell over here, that when we look at the main.tsx, currently it will call my app function, which is good. And one thing we need to consider as well over here about the HTML file, like a main index.html. Let's go there, index.html, and currently I'm having this code. I'm just keeping as is. And now let me just try this one. So it's still there. Let me play it now and click on open. And as soon as you do that, see, my patient tracker is running successfully. And here I can see the card, like Dhruvin, its email address, active patient, and displaying the data over here. So totally right now I'm having 4 data in my SharePoint list. So it is showing me all 4 records at this point on my screen. Right? So this is how you can simply create your SharePoint connection within your code apps. Now in the next episode, we are going to go one more level up from here, and we are going to specifically work with this React based code with the help of GitHub Copilot, or we will connect the Claude as well within our Visual Studio Code and do this entire code with the AI. So at least for this class, just copy paste the code that I have uploaded and you will be able to reach up to this point. Next class, we will go one more level up from there and build something more cool thing on top of that. Perfect. So that's pretty much it. I have it for today's episode. If you are for the first time to my channel, make sure you hit thumbs up and subscribe my channel. And don't forget to press the bell notification to never miss any updates from my channel. And tell me in the comment section what else you wanted to see on my channel as a next video series. Also, if you don't know, we have started our premium membership program. Underneath that, almost 60 plus hours of content is already available. It is in-depth course for around 3 different courses available at this point underneath the same membership. And again, very affordable membership is that. So if you wanted to be a part of the premium membership, you can always click on the join button, which is available on the YouTube, and enroll it from there. So that's pretty much it. This is Dhruvin signing off. See you in the next episode with some amazing content. Till then, have a great day. Goodbye.